All right, what's up, everybody? Dan Tanner here at Ball Arena, where we just saw the Denver Nuggets blow out the LA Clippers 126 to 103, the final here at Ball Arena. The Nuggets are 8-0 on the second night of a back-to-back, which is just wild. They fell to 2-6 last night with their loss to the Boston Celtics on the first night of a back-to-back, and they're still undefeated on the second night of a back-to-back. So, um, just got done hearing from Coach Malone. I apologize for being a little bit late on the show tonight. I usually just am in the press room for Malone, and then I come up here into the show. Russell Westbrook came in right after Malone, so I stayed for Russ, and I'm glad I did because Russell Westbrook is a great interview, and obviously I did want to acknowledge the just horrific events going on right now in Southern California, and the reason I bring that up is because I think what's happening in Southern California right now it did have an impact on tonight's game. I mean, Russell Westbrook just got done talking about what's going on there, and I actually posted him talking about that on my Twitter account at DanTanner091 if you want to go take a listen to what he said. But, you know, Russ has family there. He has friends there. He's from that area. He still lives in Southern California in the off season. And then obviously we had the Clippers in town tonight. Now, the Clippers have been on the road since at least Monday, where they played the Minnesota Timberwolves. So they haven't been in Southern California while these tragic events have been unfolding. But you could just tell it was just sort of a weird energy in the building tonight. Obviously, before the game, you know, Ball did a great job. Uh, the crowd gave a standing ovation to the first responders there in Southern California. Obviously, with the Clippers in town, Peyton Watson's from that area as well. So there was a lot going on outside of the basketball world for a lot of these players tonight. And then obviously, you know, we were a lot of us in the press room were talking about like just how much did this affect this Clippers team tonight? Because I tell you what, it sure looked like their heads were just not in this game tonight, and understandably so. So obviously, very very sad what's going on there, and it you could kind of feel it here in the arena. And Ball did a presentation honoring the first responders in Southern California. Like I said, crowd gives a standing ovation. They had the California flag up on the Jumbotron here at Ball Arena. So it was really cool to see that. And, you know, you forget sometimes that these guys have lives just like everybody else. I mean, Russell Westbrook was just talking about like how he was texting with his wife after the game about how their kids' school is canceled tomorrow. So, you know, you always got to keep in the back of your mind that these guys have life stuff going on outside of basketball too. So, pretty real moment there from Russell Westbrook, and he obviously just, you know, said he's been praying about it over the last couple of days, and obviously just thanks everybody in that part of the country that is helping battle these just devastating wildfires that are going on there. So yeah, a little bit of a kind of a somber feel to start the game tonight, but getting back to the game itself, what a beatdown for the Nuggets. And for this team to do this without Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon, that is special. Now, one more note with the wildfires, because it does pertain to tonight's game. So Kawhi Leonard played in Minnesota with the Clippers on Monday. He was in Denver. Now, we're not sure if he left last night or if he left sometime today, but he actually ended up flying back to California to go be with his family, who are being affected by what's going on there. So no Kawhi Leonard tonight for the Clippers, no Nikola Jokic tonight for the Nuggets, still no Aaron Gordon. The Aaron Gordon thing is starting to get sort of a weird feeling to it. These calf injuries, I tell you, these are tricky beasts to deal with. You know, I remember back 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, it was when Kevin Durant was still with the Golden State Warriors. It was probably longer ago than that. He was dealing with calf issues, and he kind of powered through. And this was in the playoffs. And just on a 3-point attempt, he ruptures his Achilles, and you could see the disgusting image of his calf muscle like twitching up and down. So my point with that is, I think the Nuggets are being ultra cautious right now with Aaron Gordon, and I haven't seen a timetable for his return. Now, the good news is Coach Malone has said that he is progressing in a positive way. But this has been an issue kind of on and off for AG all season. And he had the issue, was out for a while, comes back, and then it kind of kicks up again. So I think the second time around, the Nuggets are just like, we're not going to mess with this again. Like, we want to make sure this thing is fully good to go. So with that being said, I thought the beatdown the Nuggets put on the Clippers tonight without Jokic and Gordon was spectacular. I've been talking about how I think this is a really important stretch of the year for this team as far as where is this team heading? Is this the group they want to roll with? And I got to tell you, these last two games have done these guys some favors as far as keeping this team together. I mean, to have their performances like we saw tonight, Christian Brown, 15 points, MPJ, 19, DeAndre Jordan, wow, 5 of 6 shooting from the field, 12 points. He started at center tonight over Dario Saric. Russell Westbrook, 19 points, Jamal, 21. So the starting five, nobody really popped as far as scoring the basketball, but everybody produced. And that's why the Nuggets were able to blow out the Clippers tonight. Julian Strawther, back-to-back, excellent games from him. He's starting to string along and string together these really productive offensive performances. That's what I've been looking for all season long from Julian Strawther. We've seen moments so far early on in his career where you're like, wow, this guy's really got something. And then it kind of goes up and down, peaks and valleys, and fades away. Well, now we're starting to see it on a more consistent basis. And if you've paid attention and listened to the show, you know that one of my biggest issues with this team right now has been consistency. And it's not just this year, but it seems like it's really flared up this year, the inconsistencies of the team and individual players. But that's 3 games in a row now where I think Julian Strawther has looked like he's taken his game to the next level. And that's something that is absolutely massive for this team. Peyton Watson, again tonight, just shoots 4 of 10 from the field. Okay, so. Excellent again defensively. And he's just continuing to show me that he really has evolved into a complete basketball player. So for Julian Strawther and Peyton Watson to be playing the way they are right now is a really, really good sign for this team, especially right now, especially with a depleted roster with no Jokic, no AG. That is excellent to see from the Nuggets tonight. And then, it was a blowout late in the fourth, and Jalen Pickett gets in the game, knocks down a couple of confident-looking threes, and, Malone talked about after the game, and Scott brought this up. This is a really good opportunity for a lot of these guys, while there's some stars out, to really showcase what they can do and to show the coaching staff and their teammates that if called upon when they need him, even when the team is back and healthy, that they can come in and produce when their number's called. So I just thought it was all around excellent performance tonight. The Nuggets defense in that first quarter was spectacular. They give up 19 points in that first quarter. Excellent stuff from the defense. They were playing on a string. It just looked like one solid unit on the defensive end in that first quarter. Now they kind of regressed a little bit in the second, and Coach Malone talked about that. He said they got a little lazy on the defensive end in that second quarter, where the Clippers score 31. So they give up 12 more points in the first and in the second than they did the first quarter tonight. But overall, I thought the defense looked much, much more locked in than they have over the past, couple of months of the season. And going back to last night's game against the Boston Celtics here at Ball Arena, I said this last night, and I thought this would be the case tonight with the way the Nuggets played that game last night. To be in that game in the fourth quarter, to have a chance to win that game. I mean, they tie it back up at halftime. They're tied up with 8 minutes to go in the fourth. I really thought that momentum could carry over into tonight's game. And that's exactly what it looked like happened. Again, just the scoring depth tonight was outstanding. And these guys look like they've regained some of their lost confidence, which is fantastic to see. And to see a blowout like we saw tonight without Jokic and AG, that's a really, really good sign for a lot of these young guys on this team. So just absolutely fantastic win here at Ball Arena for the Nuggets tonight. You know, Coach Malone made an excellent point in his post-game press conference that I just got back from. He said he talked to the team before this game about the importance of this game. The Nuggets were 1-2 against the Clippers heading into tonight's game, and the Clippers were like a half game back of the Nuggets in the standings. So this game had actually a lot of implications as far as the standings go, tiebreakers go. It looked like they came out tonight and really played like this game meant a little something extra to them. I mean, so Malone was saying that if they lost this game, they go from the 4 seed to the 7 seed with one loss. That's how tight it is in the Western Conference right now. I know Aaron Gordon and Jokic are out, but like these games are massive right now. And I know we're kind of getting into the dog days of the NBA season, the month of January, really the month of January up until the All-Star break is what I would consider the dog days of the NBA season. It's kind of like late July, early August in baseball. But for these guys to come out here and perform the way they did, not just tonight, but last night as well, I thought was really, really special and a really positive sign that this team has regained some of their confidence, because it did look like the Nuggets have kind of lost their confidence just a little bit at various points throughout the season, but it looks like they've regained that. And the guy leading that charge, there's no doubt about it, has been Russell Westbrook. I can't say enough how impressed I've been this year from 36-year-old, 17-year NBA veteran Russell Westbrook. He has been everything and more that the Nuggets were hoping for when they signed him over the offseason. Not just his production on the court, not just his defensive prowess, not just his intensity, but the way he's bringing the young guys along. We all know about the special relationship he has with Peyton Watson. They're both former UCLA Bruins, Southern California guys. Peyton Watson was the first guy Russ called when he decided to sign with the Denver Nuggets. I tell you what, as bad as the Saric signing looks right now, the Russell Westbrook signing inversely looks that good. He has been absolutely fantastic, and I just credit the Nuggets front office for doing that. And I credit Nikola Jokic too, because he was a big part in advocating for the Nuggets to sign Russell Westbrook. And do you think Nikola Jokic knows what talent looks like? I think he does. And he was right about Russ, and he's been just absolutely phenomenal this year for the Nuggets. He was also asked after the game if he takes a little bit of extra pride playing the Clippers. Coach Malone had mentioned that before Russ spoke, and Malone said, you got to remember he cares about this game just a little bit more than all the others. Obviously, with the Clippers being one of his former teams. Now, when Russ was asked about that, he's like, man, I play hard against everybody. He kind of just brushed it off, but you could tell there was a moment tonight where I believe it was DeAndre Jordan at the free throw line, and Russ starts to creep in from the 3-point line in to get the potential rebound, and it was DeAndre Jordan shooting the free throw, so there was more chance than not that there probably was going to be some sort of rebound. Well, the Clippers get called for a lane violation. He shoots it again. Russ goes into the lane again. DJ misses, and he gets the tip. And that was the play that a lot of people were talking about tonight of like, wow, Russ really cares about this game, like a little extra tonight. So it was really cool to see. Phenomenal win for the Nuggets tonight. To get a blowout like this without Jokic is, I expected the Nuggets to win tonight just because of the momentum they had built up from last night's game against the Boston Celtics. Even though they lost that game, I felt like they had to have a lot of positivity coming out of that game and regained confidence. And it just bled into tonight's game. But I didn't see a blowout like this tonight. Now, obviously, again, not having Kawhi Leonard for the Clippers hurts them a little bit, but the Nuggets didn't have their two best players either. So excellent win for the Nuggets tonight here at Ball Arena. All right, let's get to some of the comments here. Kevin, my guy, what up, DT? Appreciate it. Let's see here. Great bounce back game. That's from Kevin. Yeah, like I said, I mean, really, I tell you what, I think the Nuggets gained more confidence from last night's loss to the Celtics than they did from tonight's game. Now, I'm not saying they can't take anything out of this beatdown tonight, but the performance they had last night against the Celtics, hanging around that team, the defending champs, who are for the most part completely healthy, I really do think that gave this team a heck of a lot of confidence heading into tonight's game. Now, what's really going to be fascinating to watch is, can this continue? Can this carry over the next couple of weeks in the season? Can the Nuggets really use this as fuel moving forward in this month of January, where it's the most games they play in any month this season? So it's gonna be a daunting stretch here for the Nuggets. They've got the Brooklyn Nets coming up here at Ball on Friday, and then on Sunday they're at Dallas. Thanks a lot, NBA. Scheduled that game for 1:00 when the Broncos playoff game's at 11. You know, I actually was just talking to DMAC about that, and DMAC said that this is the league's sort of gift to the European market. I hadn't even thought of it that way, because theoretically, if Joker's back by then, and Luke has been out too, so I don't know if Luke is even going to be playing in that game. But theoretically, it's the Jokic-Doncic matchup. So they're kind of giving that to the European market while there's NFL playoff games going on. We'll obviously be covering all games here on Altitude Sports Radio. Tough loss for the Avs tonight. They lose 3-1 to the worst team in the NHL, but it was just kind of an interesting scheduling thing from the NBA to do that during NFL Sunday, which, you know, it is what it is. But if the NBA wants to up their ratings, maybe don't schedule games when the NFL playoffs are going on. I'm just saying. So, but tough stretch here for the Nuggets. I mean, they've got 2 games in a row actually in Dallas, and then they come back home against the Houston Rockets. The Rockets are the 2 seed right now in the West. So this is a great opportunity for the Nuggets to really stack up some wins here in this daunting month of January. And it's, you know, I say daunting, and it is. The schedule is. By the way, the Nuggets have the most back-to-backs currently in the NBA. I look at that as a good thing. Get these back-to-backs out of the way. Get these things out of the way as quickly as possible, and the less back-to-backs this team has as we inch towards the playoffs, the better. So I view that as a positive. But just, again, phenomenal performance from the Nuggets tonight. Christian Braun looks like he's regained his shooting form. He was 2 of 2 from beyond the arc tonight. MPJ, I thought, had a really another solid night. Man, is he going to make it a tough call if they want to trade him or not. And this is a good thing for Michael Porter Jr. He is making it a tough call right now because he's playing his ass off. I mean, this has to be, over the last couple of weeks, the best stretch of his career. There's no doubt about it. And he's in the midst of the best season of his career. So I look at it as a win-win for the Nuggets either way. If he's playing this well and they decide to keep him, great, because he's producing. And if they do end up deciding to trade Michael Porter Jr. to make a trade before the deadline, well, at worst, he's upping his value as far as the return the Nuggets could potentially get if they do decide to trade him. But, you know, the more I'm watching Michael Porter Jr., they're not going to trade him. I don't think they're going to trade him. Now, I'm not saying they should or shouldn't. I don't think they want to mess with the locker room chemistry, because I've said for years that I've been covering this team, that locker room is very, very close. For those of you who don't know, I mean, it is a very tight-knit group. And you give Coach Malone a lot of credit for that, because I think he's really instilled the family aspect of this culture with this organization, which is great. I mean, he always ends his huddles with 1, 2, 3 family. You know, I mean, that's the culture Malone's built. So I don't think that this team is going to want to mess with the locker room culture. And speaking of locker room culture, I mean, I always forget that Bones Highland still plays for the Los Angeles Clippers. By the way, he was getting booed here at Ball Arena tonight every time he touched the ball. I was not expecting that. Now, Bones didn't leave on the best of terms by any means. From what I have heard, he may or may not have, but definitely was causing some issues in the locker room, and the team got him out of here because that's not what this team's about. But it was surprising to me that Bones was getting booed pretty much every time he touched the ball tonight. I really didn't think it was to that level with Nuggets fans, but obviously I'm wrong on that. But the point is, when Bones was here, he was causing issues in the locker room, allegedly. This is what I've heard. And they shipped him out. They're not going to tolerate that kind of stuff. So obviously, the culture in the locker room is something that the Nuggets take very, very seriously. And in the case of Michael Porter Jr., I do think that you have to factor that in when thinking about if this team should or should not trade him at the trade deadline. I don't think they're going to make a move. I don't think they should make a move regarding Michael Porter Jr. Dario Saric tonight, God bless him. I mean, really. And to be fair to Dario, this is probably his best game of the season for the Nuggets. Now, granted, he hasn't played in a whole lot of games because he was struggling so mightily early on in the season. Then he hurts his ankle. And then he's been back for a while, didn't play. But with Joker being out, he's been forced into the lineup. Didn't start tonight. He did start last night. But he scored 7 points tonight. And I would say this probably was his best performance of the season. And that kind of tells you all you need to know about Dario Saric. He's not the answer at the backup five. I talked about this last night. It's blatantly obvious, at least to me right now, that the Nuggets are going to have to go in a different direction when it comes to the backup five. I mean, Peyton Watson, we've seen Malone throw him in there a little bit, and I think he's done a pretty good job in that role. Look, it's not that difficult to outperform Zeke Naji or Dario Saric at the backup five right now. As sad as that is to say, that's just the reality of the situation. I don't envision a world where Dario plays his way back into the lineup. And the only reason he's playing right now is because Nikola Jokic is out. We saw last night, Malone trotted out Zeke Naji in the first half. Didn't go well at all in his 5 minutes. He was flat out awful. So, again, the backup five and defense. Those are my two biggest moves. I would like to see the Nuggets do everything they can to try and improve in those areas. Going to be difficult to do that, though. I'm just going to be real with you all. It's going to be very difficult to make any moves that don't involve Michael Porter Jr. Plain and simple. So the Nuggets have a lot of tough choices when it comes to MPJ coming up here. And like I said, credit to Michael, because he is making it very difficult for them to seriously consider trading him. And I, over the last couple of weeks, I really don't see that happening. All right, let's see here. Kevin says DJ almost had a double-double tonight. Yeah, probably his best game of the year. Look, DJ has definitely been their best backup big this year. I mean, there's no question. Best backup five, I should say. There's no question about that. I just don't see him being super effective in the playoffs and down the stretch. I just don't think that's a viable option. I know we all love DJ. I just don't think they can roll with him as their primary backup five. He's really good in the role he's in now, where he kind of gets spot minutes, spot starts when he needs to. That's great. And he's able to fill that role pretty well, I would say. But as far as the longevity of that being effective, I just don't see that happening. Let's see here. Dante says a win even without Kawhi while giving the young bench meaningful minutes. Yeah, that's something I talked about. This is these last two games. And Scott Hastings asked Coach Malone about this just a couple minutes ago in his press conference. Scott said, it looks like we're really starting to see some growth from these young guys. And I agree with Scott, especially Julian Strawther and Peyton Watson. And thank God for that, because if those two guys don't perform at a pretty consistent level, this team does not have a chance. It's that simple. They will not have a chance to win a title. if those guys aren't performing at a consistent level. They don't need to be superstars every night. That's not what I'm asking of them, but they need nights like they had tonight. I mean, Julian Strawther, 5 of 10 shooting from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, 50%, excellent. And he scored 16 points. He was a plus 18. Peyton Watson, 9 points, 4 of 10 shooting, excellent defense, a couple of blocks in there. That's what they need from those two guys on a consistent basis. A performance like we saw last night and a performance like we saw tonight. I think that'll be enough to at least give the Nuggets a chance in the playoffs. And again, if you listen to the show, you know everything I talk about in the Jokic era is about winning. Can this help them win a championship? Because that's what the mindset should be. And I know that's what the mindset is in the front office, with the coaching staff, and in the locker room. I know that's what the mindset is. And trust me, I know there's been some frustration at various points throughout the season, rightfully so. But this team is very, very aware that they have a very special basketball player in Nikola Jokic, and they're very aware about the urgency they need to have while he is donning a Denver Nuggets uniform. Probably never going to see another basketball player like this in Denver again. I hope I'm wrong, but the odds say that it's probably not going to happen. The Spurs might be doing it going from Tim Duncan to Victor Wembanyama, but again, that's the exception, not the rule. So I do think this team is very aware, and the reason I think the front office will at least consider making a major move, a la trading MPJ, is because they have that urgency as well. I just think over the last couple of weeks, Michael has made it very, very difficult. He's made it a very difficult decision for the front office because he has been playing so well. He's been good enough on the defensive end to where I don't think it's really hurting this team. And that's always been, Malone's kind of biggest issue with Michael over the years. I'm not even saying this season, but especially early on in his career, we saw Michael get yanked all the time because of defense. And that is definitely not the case anymore. So Michael is at least to the level on the defensive end of the floor where he's not being attacked every single possession. He's not a liability every single possession. That's all they need from Michael. He doesn't need to be a world beater on defense. He can rebound the basketball. He can be a very good defensive rebounder, no question about it. And they need him to be. They need him to be an excellent rebounder. Michael could average 10 rebounds a game easily if he wanted to. And he had 8 tonight, all on the defensive end. If he gets 8 to 10 rebounds a night, and all 8 of them were on the defensive end tonight, that's all you can ask for from Michael. Rebound the basketball, shoot the lights out of the ball, and make sure your shot selection is good, which he has done all 3 of those things so far this year. So anyways, excellent win for the Nuggets tonight. 126-103 is the final. Again, just weird night here at Ball tonight with everything going on in Southern California. Obviously, with the Clippers being in town, the Nuggets players, there's a lot of connections there with Russell and Peyton Watson being from Los Angeles. I know Russell still has the home there. If you missed it earlier, I talked about Russ after the game, was talking about how he was texting with his wife right after the game, like their kid's school got canceled tomorrow. So this was just a kind of an eerie feeling in the arena tonight, and you could tell that the Clippers' heads just weren't in it. And Kawhi flew home either last night or this morning back to Los Angeles to be with his family. So it was kind of just weird circumstances heading into tonight's game. I kind of equate it to, it's obviously not the same situation, but I was in the arena years ago when everybody had found out that Kobe Bryant tragically passed away in a helicopter accident, and the Nuggets were playing here in Denver, and it was just kind of that same feeling in the arena where like the air had just kind of been sucked out of the arena. Now that had happened like just an hour or two before tip off in that game. So that was a little bit different, but it was sort of just the same vibe. Like you could kind of just tell that everybody in the arena had that in the back of their minds. And obviously, the players did as well. So, but hey, credit to the Nuggets tonight. They came in here and took care of business. They beat a team they should have beaten in a very big game. The Clippers going into this were 2-1 against the Nuggets so far this season. They tie up the season series. The Nuggets are now, let's see here. As far as the standings go, heading into tonight's game, like I mentioned earlier, Coach Malone had said if they lost this game, they fall to the 7 seed. They're in the 4 seed now. And going into this game, the Nuggets were 20-15 and the Clippers were 20-16. So I get it's still early January, but these are the kind of games that can come back to bite you at the end of the season as far as playoff positioning, seeding goes. So the Nuggets definitely needed this win tonight, especially after the loss against the Celtics here last night. Excellent stuff from the Nuggets. And it really looks like these young guys are starting to really pick it up, figure things out, and are learning how to be more impactful on a nightly basis. So excellent stuff for the Nuggets tonight. They get the 126-103 victory over the LA Clippers, improved to 21-15 on the season. They're still 4th place in the West. And then they've got Brooklyn here to finish out their 3-game homestand coming up at Ball on Friday. And we will talk to you then. Big Nuggets win, everybody. Have a great night.